And I just think the Maroons come away with it at Suncorp. So I'm going to go the Maroons in a tight one, 1-12. Well, sometimes you don't get the tip right, but the least I can do now is get on the sweep train. Choo-choo! What is going on, guys? Burgz back at it again for another week of tips and predictions here on The Casual Athlete. This week, it is round 14, and round 13 had some spectacular games, and we didn't go that well, but we will get into that in just a moment. Before we do that, though, guys, just a reminder to like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, we release content each and every week, so make sure that you hit that like button and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of our latest content. Now, guys, let's just take a look back at the tips from last week. A little bit of a disappointing week. I cannot believe I didn't go with my boys in blue on Wednesday night. I just didn't like the fact that we hadn't won back-to-back games at Suncorp since 1997, but this Blues team, I should have noticed that the Stars are all over the park, and they dominated Queensland. It probably should have been 30-6 in this game. Queensland, on the other hand, they were frazzled. They didn't have a game plan, and they were shook early on. And it really didn't change from that point. Blues dominated field position. They dominated the back end in yardage out of the field. Lomax, To'o, Dylan Edwards, outstanding on those first couple of carries. And then on the back of that, Payne Haas was tremendous in the middle. Absolutely fantastic for the Blues. I do not know how the Maroons turn it around from then. I am sensing a big sweep in this series. I did say to a number of people, if the Blues can manage to win this first game, they will continue to win the series 3-0, and I expect that to happen in this Origin series. But let's get on to the NRL games. We got St. George, that's great. Then we got the Storm. Another dicey one, though. The Titans were looking okay in that game, and I believe I said last week that anything could happen. This Titans side could potentially come back and win this game, but the Storm managed to hold on, and I've got to say, if the Titans didn't make as many errors as they did, the Storm would not have had those opportunities to capitalise, and that's what they did. The Storm capitalised on a lot of Titans' errors and managed to score points on the back of it. Then we went the Tigers against my own team, and to be fair, for a lot of this, it looked like a really stupid tip. The last 10 minutes, though, made it look like I was a genius. Cowboys really ran out of gas. The Tigers just didn't have... just let in one too many tries for the Cowboys, and it really cost them in the back end of that game. They finally started playing Tigers football. It really looked to me like before that they were trying to play this, set for set style. It's not the way that they should play. They need to embody the formula of play of their coach. Like, their coach was such this effervescent, eyes up footy player in Benji Marshall, and I think they need to start adopting a bit of that mentality. Otherwise, I don't think they're actually going to go very far in this competition. If they keep, trying to stick to structure and have these set-for-set games with a lot of teams, I think they're going to lose out a lot of the time. The Broncos, not sure what is happening with this team at all. They have the right team on paper. They have all the tools that you need to be a championship caliber team, but it's not translating to the field at all at this point in time. Manly, who have been terrible over the last month of football, put 30 points on them, and this Broncos side looked like they had the attack of the Knights out there on the weekend. They can't score points. Don't know why. I think there's some soul searching needs to be done. I don't know. Let's move on to the Warriors game, and we're glad we held on for the win there for the Warriors. I was a little bit dicey going into this one. I did think the Rabbitohs were a big chance in it, but the Warriors, they managed to hang on once again, and that is the 7th game now that they have now won by less than 8 points. They just keep doing it, man. Keep chugging along. Then we have the Parramatta Eels. Not sure why I went with the Parramatta Eels. I thought it was a little bit disrespectful that they were the outsiders in this game to begin with, and maybe I should have read into that a little bit more. Do or die clash for the Panthers, and I really think they won this on the edges, especially that edge with Russell and I believe it was Lomax. It just got kind of a little bit away from Parramatta. I didn't think they were out of the game until they were. They ended up making a few too many errors, and it cost them in this one. And the Raiders, another comeback. Man, they are just on fire. I was tentative about sticking with this tip once I found out that Fogarty was going to be out for the game, and I'm going to be completely honest, guys, I thought about changing it last minute. But I was like, no, Burgz, you never change tips last minute, and I'm glad that I didn't, because this is the reason why. You back the team because they're a team, not because of one player, even though Fogarty is so important to the way that they play each and every week. The Raiders, I stuck with them and we got 4 out of 8 as a result. So, guys, not my greatest week, let's be honest. I kind of want to move past this week. There's a few that I should have got 100%, especially that Blues tip. I think especially my own team. I should have backed the Cowboys, but I think the Broncos and Eels, you can possibly forgive me for that one. But, guys, let's move on to round 14. The first game of round 14 is the Knights taking on the Seagulls at McDonald Jones Stadium, and it hasn't been a happy hunting ground for the Seagulls over the past 4 games. They have only won 1 of those games against the Knights at McDonald Jones, and the Knights also get a big in this week. They get Greg Marzu back into the team, but they do lose Leo Thompson to a possible 4-week suspension. So that is not great for them, and considering he is the leader of that forward pack, he is the alpha dog. And the fact that they continue to not be able to score points, it's getting a bit ridiculous. I don't know of a team, and I need to go back through the stats for this, and I think I will maybe do a deep dive on the Knights' attack at some point over the next couple of weeks, especially over this first half of the season. It might be historic as to how bad they are attacking at this point. I mean, we thought that Fletcher Sharp offered a bit more than Kalen Ponga would at the fullback position, but to not really aim up again in a game against the Dragons, a Dragons team who have been very inconsistent this year, and they've let in a few points in a lot of games. Their only try was through Leo Thompson. He actually set up Kai Pearce-Paul, who ran a very good line, to get over for their only try of the game. And that came with 10 minutes to go in the game. They're going through such long periods in games where they don't have a clue on how to score points. Manly, on the other hand, they look better without Tom Trbojevic as well. So it's another case of, is the backup fullback better than the current fullback? Because Lehigh Hopewadi looked outstanding on the weekend, and DCE almost looked more calm, more assured of himself. Really need to have a big game, considering a lot of talk around his origin level at this point in time. And I'm going to back the Seagulls in this game. I cannot tip the Knights, guys. Like, I don't care that they're at home. I don't care that they put 20 plus points on a reserve grade Panthers side 2 weeks ago. That's out the window for me. I think they come up against a full strength Manly team despite Tom Trbojevic. I think Manly looked good last week. I'm going to give it to Manly. Let's go Manly, 13 plus. Game 2 of round 14 takes us down to Amy Park, where the Storm will be taking on my North Queensland Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys should come into this one with a mountain of confidence against the Storm. They have won 3 on the trot against the boys from Melbourne. However, all of those games have been played at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. We haven't played the Storm in Melbourne since 2020, and we haven't won there since 2015. So this racks my brain a bit because, I went against them last week. I went against my Cowboys. They got the job done in the end, but it was by no means convincing. And you could say the same for the Storm. They got the job done in the end, but large points of that game, they look like the second best team on the field. I really think that 2 intercept tries were the order of the day, and it's what ended up being the difference in the end, with Suafa'alongo going all the way and Grant Anderson also scoring an intercept try. And this Melbourne side, they look clunky as ever. Last week, they really didn't have it together. It was wet. They seem to not love playing in wet weather. The Cowboys aren't a wet weather team either. So if it is a little bit wet, I still back the Storm. And I don't know how you can get away from the Storm in this game. They want to be better than they were last week. And if it's a flat track, then this Cowboys defense is leaky as anything. It's one of the leakiest defense in the competition. And I hate saying that about my own team, but it's true. We're a high-paced, high-powered attacking team, attacking-focused team, not a defensive one. And we never have been. It's not part of our DNA at the Cowboys, but it's why I love them, which is why I think this will be a very high-scoring game. I don't think the Storm defense is much to scoff at either, to tell you the truth. They've given up some big scores this season, but we're going to go the Storm in this one, 13 plus. The second Friday night game takes place at Suncorp, where we have the Dolphins taking on the Dragons. Now, I thought the Dragons were pretty good last week, even though they came up against a Knights team that really doesn't know how to score points. I thought their defense was very solid, and their effort for a team that is aging as they are, they're one of the oldest rosters in the league. They showed some real hustle on defense the other night. And I just think this barometer of the team is Clint Gutherson. And if he plays well, then the Dragons seem to get a win. And that's definitely what happened again the other night. Clint Gutherson led from the front, scored another try. He seems to have found some really good form. It's just about whether he can maintain that throughout the season. We've seen sometimes with Para, he has a really good start to the season, and towards the end of the season, he starts to get a little bit injured, needs to get some fluid drained out of the knee because it seems to be a lingering issue, and unfortunately, his performance dips at that point in time. For the Dolphins, I really think that they found some form a couple of weeks ago. They were electric. They turned it on when they needed to, especially against the team coming first, to be able to put on that amount of points in the amount of time that they did. Man, they really flipped a switch. And Isaiah Katoa is that guy that just keeps getting better and better. Like, the movements that he's making at the line for a 21-year-old, I think he is at this point in time, are just outrageous. It's stuff that, 26-year-old, 30-year-old halfbacks are only just doing as well. So for him to have that maturity to straighten into the line, look out the back, so many options as well. They have great unity on that left-hand side now with Herbie Farmworth running good lines, whether it be Fini Fuiaki or Connolly Lemuelu when he comes on. He seems to have added a lot of punch as well. I just want to see him get more minutes. They do also get Jerry Marshall King back for this game. So, by all accounts, with the hammer coming back into the fold, they should win this game. But I just think this Dragon side are a bit stern right now. They're going to be a tough beat. If the Dolphins don't get on the board early, which I don't expect them to, I do think that this Dragons team can hold out for the victory. And Flanagan seems to have made a bit of an adjustment over the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to back Shane Flanagan here. Let's go the Dragons 1-12. We start Super Saturday with the Sharks taking on the Warriors at Shark Park. Now, the Warriors have actually won their last two games at Shark Park, albeit by just a couple of points each time. And this Warriors side has been fantastic this year. Can't take anything away from them. They have won a lot of close games, which really shows their grit and determination to get games over the line. They nearly lost it again last week against the Rabbitohs, but again, credit to them. They have been fantastic this year. And Aaron Clark, for me, I just want to point him out for a moment. He is quickly becoming my favorite player in the competition. I love his energy. I love his intensity as well. And he's just proving why the Titans should never have let him go. And he has been a great replacement for Tohu Harris. The Sharks, on the other hand, really disappointing going into their bye last week. They put up a horrible performance. I can't even remember who they played, to tell you the truth. It was a couple of weeks ago, but it was the Roosters against a Roosters side that didn't have their origin players, and the Sharks are pretty much full strength. Like, how do they lose that game? But I tipped it, and this Sharks side, well, they're back at home this week. Does that necessarily mean that they will win? Judging by their play this year, no, but they do get Teague Wilton and Toby Rudolph back. Toby Rudolph especially good, considering Tommy Hazleton has an injury. But it's just kind of either Adam Fanua-Blake or bust for them right now. Sometimes they get on his back and he carries them to a victory, and then sometimes he kind of goes rogue and is a bit against the team plan, and it doesn't necessarily work. I do think that they can get back into the winners' books this week, but I'm going to back the Warriors, man. I don't care that they've lost Barnett. They've proven that they can almost win with anyone out on the park. I do expect it to be close, though, because that is just the DNA of Warriors games. And even if it's a bit wet, you still back the Warriors because they play in those conditions over in New Zealand all the time. So let's go the Warriors 1-12. Next game of the round, we're back at Suncorp for the Broncos taking on the Titans, and I cannot believe the Broncos are as big a favourite in this game as they are right now. Currently, I actually think they are the highest priced favourite of the weekend. I think aside from the Storm against the Cowboys. Like, Broncos are like $1.33 at the moment. Have they been watching the Broncos play over the last 6, 7 weeks? Clearly not. This Titan side weren't too far away last week. I really think that they are once again pushing towards that win that keeps evading them. I do think that the move for Jaden Campbell to go to fullback was a good move. He's probably the guy with Brimo out, with Keanu Kinney out, the guy that you should put in there. Jalen DeGroot, look for me. I think he's had enough opportunity there and he just really isn't giving it too much. And he's got a hamstring injury as well. So we don't know the severity of that. They were late pullouts, him and Brimson. Whether they'll suit up this week and whether David Fafita gets another selection. Maybe he has learned from his time off and they'll give him another crack. I mean, that's $1 million of salary cap just sitting on the sideline right now. The Broncos need to pull it together. They get Reece Walsh back. They get Jack Kashevsky back. That should probably give them a little bit of stability, considering those guys were starters from day one this season. But day one was probably their best day of the season. And since then, it has been an absolute schmozzle, especially over the last 8 weeks, I would say. This Broncos team look again, out of gas, tired. They're really relying on Payne Haas too much, and which is a bit selfish of them. Like, we need him for Origin, so I think they need to maybe not play him as many minutes. And I do think the Titans can win this game, and I'm going to back them as well. I think the Titans are really pushing towards a win here, especially in the last month or so. They've gone without a win for a little bit, and this Broncos side are ripe for the picking. Like, they are down on confidence, they are down on attacking spark. They just don't have everything together. They don't have the troops necessarily fit either. And I like this Titans side for this game. Not in general. I do think the Titans will be one of the bottom four teams of the season, just based on what I've seen. But you can argue the Broncos are going to be right there with them. Let's go the Titans, 1-12. Moving on to Sunday's games, and we've got the Canberra Raiders taking on the Rabbitohs in our 2 p.m. fixture. Now, the Canberra Raiders should be confident going into this game. They've won the last 3 games in a row against the Rabbitohs, but we're going to try and throw the form guide out a little bit, considering a lot of teams have changed, and I think maybe sometimes I give a little bit too much weight to form guides in the past, and that's definitely cost me a couple of tips this season. And we're just going to talk about the Raiders this year because it is such a change from previous seasons. They look hungry. They look like they can beat anyone on their day. And the thing is, their days are becoming way more consistent than ever. They tend to start very slow still. Again, they had another good comeback on the weekend, but that's the kind of energy you need to have as a aspiring premiership winning team. Like, they have the confidence, they have the team there that we didn't see. Some of these guys are having great second years at the club. KO Weeks looks outstanding. Ethan Strange has really stepped up. Ethan Sanders, I thought, was good on the weekend in place of Fogarty, and that's the big thing for me. They managed to win a game pretty convincingly without Fogarty. I know the Roosters scored a try at the end of the game, made it a bit close, but I really thought the Raiders had that game on lock right until the last couple of minutes. And I just love their energy in this season. Like, they look unstoppable at times, and this Rabbitohs side, they don't give up. That's their best quality this season. They've won a lot of games this year, or a few games this year, by just playing right until the final whistle. And I think they just lack a little bit of superstar quality, if you know what I mean. Like, they're relying on Latrell a lot in attack. He kind of sparks their whole attack, and with guys like Cody Walker out, I mean, I don't think Cody Walker was playing that well before he was out, but their middle, the change that they've made in the middle has really worked for me. Guys like Keon Koloamatangi and Jai Arrow lead from the front, and I think if Koloamatangi has another great game, he really should be selected for Origin, considering that Mitch Barnett is going to be out. But it's going to be pretty simple for me in this one. I'm going to go the Raiders, 1-12. I do think the Rabbitohs will make this a close game, but just don't think they'll get there in the end against this really good Raiders side. Let's go the Raiders, 1-12. The next game up is the Tigers taking on the Panthers at CommBank Stadium. Now, the Panthers played at CommBank last week, and they've played a few home games there this season. So I don't exactly know why this game is getting played at CommBank Stadium, but the Tigers tend to take a couple of home games there each year, and it is another battle of the West in this game. Can the Panthers make it 2 from 2? That is the big question for me. And the Tigers have been a bit of a thorn in the side of Penrith over the past, dominant years that they've, won the competition. The Panthers have won the last 4 years in a row, as we know, but the Tigers have beaten them 2 out of those 5 occasions that they have met during the regular season. And for a spoon team like the Tigers, that is actually pretty impressive in my eyes. Now, the Tigers were completely disappointing last week. They failed across the board for the first 65 minutes of play. Completely outplayed by the Cowboys until they finally had no other option but to throw the ball around. And that is something that they should be doing from the get-go. Like, this team is not a set for set, pull your team out of yardage team. Like, they've got very small wingers, Taruva and Staines, who aren't big yardage guys. And then Buller is a bit of a flashy, hammer-like fullback, if you will. He doesn't really do the hard work out of yardage. He's not a Dylan Edwards. He's not a James Tedesco type fullback. He's a pick your spot, glide through, on the back of a nice sweeping play. That's the stuff that Bullet is really good at. And they weren't utilizing him properly until those 15 minutes from the end of the game. And I thought Heath Mason was quite good when he, got opportunity. But, it needs to start earlier in the game. And for Penrith, they need to win this game. They basically need to win a lot of games if they're going to be competitive. This is 13th versus 14th on the ladder. I just don't see it from the Tigers at the moment. I wanted a response after Lachlan Galvin left the team. And whether Latu Fainu comes in the coming weeks, that remains to be seen. He's still out with a thumb injury at this point. But I think the Panthers get a win here. I know it's a bit of a boring one. And the Tigers, they should, if they want to prove me wrong, I've thrown the challenge to them to do that. But I just don't see them winning this game against the Panthers. Let's go the Panthers, 1-12. Last game of the round, and we have Monday Night Football back on deck, and it is a cracker of a rivalry game between the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs and the Parramatta Eels. Now, the Eels, for me, they really lacked a lot of attacking spark on the weekend. Something that we had seen in previous games just really wasn't there. A lot of ball kept in play from Penrith, and it really hemmed the Parramatta attack in, and I thought Moses really didn't step up to the plate. I thought that they could have tried a few more different things, but they kept going set for set, and towards the end of the game, they really got forced into a choke point by the Panthers, and the Panthers really just didn't let them off the canvas after getting up by 8 points. And the Dogs, on the other hand, they had the week off, but it doesn't really help them too much. They still have Preston out, they still have Tupanua out, and Karaz is still out for this game. But what I think it will do is set up a massive storyline for this game, and that is, will Lachlan Galvin play for the Bulldogs? Now, these are obviously the two teams that he was thinking about signing for. He ended up going with the Bulldogs, and no doubt a lot of Para fans were very upset with that signing, and now Parramatta scrambling, trying to find a replacement for Dylan Brown, and I just don't love it if Galvin suits up for this game. I don't love it for his confidence, for a team in first position to be signing a player mid-season like Galvin. I think it's a bit cheap to me. It really messes with their flow that they had going on. I think it could take him a few weeks to really settle in, and if he's going to come in instead of Sexton, there's going to be no kicking game there. Like, he wasn't doing any of the kicking. Toby Sexton does take the pressure off Matt Burton a lot, so it kind of falls on Matt Burton to do a lot of the kicking, and I really think the Parramatta Eels are a chance in this one, especially with the outs that the Dogs do have. But I do think the Dogs will win this game. I think the Reed Marnie is going to be dropped for this one as well. We're hearing that Bailey Hayward is going to move into the hooker position, and I think that's a good move for the Dogs. Reed Marnie just too ill-disciplined at the moment, and I think this Dogs side will just carry on the way they have been carrying on this season, and they do get their origin players back for this game. So let's go the Dogs in a close one, 1-12. So that is it for the video for round 14, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your tips and predictions for the games this round in the comment section below. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. Click that like button and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of our latest content. And I'll catch you on the next one.